Namo Shri Krishna. Namo Namo Bhagavate Namo Namo Krishna Namo Kudamadhana Krishna Namo Rama Namo Rama Namo Shri Krishna Namo Rama Namo Namo Rama Namo Shri Krishna Namo Dayala Rama Namo Dina Dayala Rama Namo Vivarakshaka Krishna Namo Vivarakshaka Krishna Namo Rama Namo Rama Namo Rama Namo Shri Krishna Namo Rama Namo Rama Namo Rama Namo Shri Krishna Namo Mahesha Jagadisha Mahesha Isha Mahesha Jagadisha Mahesha Hara Hara Shankara Sanya Sada Isha Mahesha Hara Hara Shankara Sanya Sada Isha Mahesha Pandava Kriya Hara Chandra Karadhara Isha Mahesha Pandava Kriya Hara Chandra Karadhara Isha Mahesha Ambasvita Lambodhara Vandita Isha Mahesha Ambasvita Lambodhara Vandita Isha Mahesha Himachala Shunganivasita Himachala Shunganivasita Isha Mahesha Hara Shankara Sanya Sada Isha Mahesha Hara Hara Shankara Sanya Sada Isha Mahesha Isha Mahesha Jagadisha Mahesha Isha Mahesha Jagadisha Mahesha
One religion is in trouble. US has got one religion. The Western world has got one religion, which is Christianity. The Middle East has got Islam as their only religion.
Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Veryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti Shanti. Together we will chant Kaivalya Upanishad, beginning with invocatory prayer together. Bhadram karnebhih shrinayama devaha Bhadram pashyemakshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaishtushtulavamsasthanobhih Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu Swasti na indro vruddhashravaha Swasti na pusha vishwavedaha Swasti nastarsho arishtanemihi Swasti no bruhaskatir dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Athashvalayano bhagavantam parameshtinamupassametyo vacha adhihi bhagavat Brahma vidyam varishta sada sadbhik sendramana nigudam yayachara sarvapapam vyakotya param purusham yati vidwan Tasmai sahovacha pitamahasya shraddhaha jnana yogadavaihi na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage naike amrutatvamanshuhu hare nanakam nihikam duhayam vibhrajate yadhyatayo vishanti Vedanta Vijnana Sunishchitata Sannyasa Yoga Yathaya Shuddha Sattva Te Brahma Lokeshu Parantakaye Paramrita Parimucyanti Sarve Vivitta Deshe Cha Sukhasanasta Shuchit Samadhi Vashira Shariraha Ashtaskalendriyani niruddhya bhaktya swagunam pranamya Pundarikam virajam vishuddham vichintya madhye vishadam vishokam Acintyam avyaktamanantarupam shivam prashantam amritam brahmayonim Adhantam madhyanta vihinamekam vibhum shivarantam adbhutam Masahayam parameshwaram prabhum trilokanam nilakantham prashantam Chatyamunir gacchati bhutayonim samasta sakshim tamasa parastat Dhammasa Shiva Sendra Sokshara Paramaswara स एव विष्णुः स प्राणः स कालोऽग्निः स चन्द्रमाः स एव सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यं सनातनम् ज्ञात्वा तं मृत्युमत्येति नान्यः पन्था विमुच्यते सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि सम्पश्यन् ब्रह्म परमं याति नान्येन हेतुना आत्मानमरणं कृत्वा प्रणवं चोत्तरारिणीम् ज्ञाननिर्मथनाभ्यासात् पाशं दहति पण्डितः स एव माया परिमोहितात्मा शरीरमास्थाय करोति सर्वम् स्त्रियन्नपानादिविचित्रभोगैः स एव जाग्रत् परितृप्तिमेति स्वप्ने स जीवः सुखदुःखभोक्ता स्वप्नया कल्पितविश्वलोके सुखिकाले सकले विलीने तमो विभूतः सुखरूपमेति पुनश्च जन्मान्तरकर्मयोगात् स एव जीवः स्वपिति प्रबुद्धः पुरत्रये क्रीडति यश्च जीवस्ततस्तु जातं सकलं विचित्रम् आधारमानन्दमखण्डबोधं यस्मिन् लयं याति पुरत्रयं च एतस्माज्जायते प्राणो मनः सर्वेन्द्रियाणि च खं वायुर्ज्योतिरापः पृथिवी विश्वस्य धारिणी अन्तरं ब्रह्म सर्वात्मा विश्वस्यायतनं महत् सूक्ष्मं नित्यं त्वमेव तत् जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्त्यादि पञ्चं यत् प्रकाशते तद्ब्रह्माहमिति ज्ञात्वा सर्वबन्धैर्विमुच्यते त्रिषु धामसु यद्भोग्यं भोगश्च यद्भवेत् तेभ्यो विलक्षणः साक्षी चिन्मात्रोऽहं सदाशिवः मय्येव सकलं जातं मयि सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितम् मयि सर्वं लयं याति ब्रह्माद्वयमस्म्यहम् अणोरणीयानहमेव तद्वत् अहं विश्वमहं विचित्रम् पुरातनोऽहं पुरुषोऽहमीशो हिरण्मयोऽहं शिवरूपमस्मि पाणिपादोऽहमचिन्त्यशक्तिः पश्याम्यचक्षुः शत्रोऽव्यकर्णः अहं विजानामि विविक्तरूपो न शास्ति वेत्ता मम च सदाहम् एकैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् न पुण्यपापे मम नास्ति नाशो न जन्मदेहेन्द्रियबुद्धिरस्ति नमो विरापो न जगद्भिरस्ति न चामिमावेस्ति न चाम्बरं च एवं विदित्वा परमात्मरूपं निष्कलमद्वितीयम् समस्तसाक्षिं सदसद्विहीनं प्रयाति शुद्धं परमात्मरूपम् तस्सर्वरुद्रैकमधीते सोऽग्निपूतो भवति सुरापानात् पूतो भवति ब्रह्महत्यात् पूतो भवति कृत्यात् पूतो भवति तस्मादविमुक्तमाश्रितो भवति अत्याश्रमे सर्वदा सकृद्भाजते अनेन ज्ञानमाप्नोति संसारार्णवनाशनम् तस्माद् Evam viditvainam kaivalyam palamasnute kaivalyam palamasnukaiti. We have been studying the Kaivalya Upanishad. First topic we have concluded in the last class, wherein we have studied the ashramas, the 4 ashramas, which are Brahmacharya, Gruhastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa ashramas. They are not the fixed entities based on the individual growth and maturity and understanding of the mumukshutva. You can surpass one or two stages and cross and try to get to the final stage of meditation and enlightenment. All these stages only explain the human gradual evolution from the brahmacharyam to the sannyasa, vanaprastha, sannyasa, and enlightenment, realization. So thoroughly we have studied the mission of human life is to eradicate the vasanas, the desires, so and get to the pure consciousness, the God consciousness. So entire the journey is only to plan and program to eradicate the desires to get to that enlightened state. So the self is also free from vasanas, desires. Consequently, it has no mental agitation and sorrow. So the self is the consciousness which illumines life's experiences. So that is the concluding mantra we have studied at the meditation. Last stage is the after sannyasa, a human being get to the state of meditation. So meditation is a state, it is an effect. It is not the cause. The cause is the karma, bhakti, jnana, the spiritual practices of selfless service and devotion and seeing the divinity everywhere and liquidation of your ego and surrender to the higher altar and gaining the knowledge of the Supreme Self. With all these practices, you get rid of the desires and get to the state of sannyasa. With that state, you have no desires for the world, completely introverted, and you are qualified, eligible to keep your mind focused on the Supreme Self with the powerful intellect. Then you are practicing meditation and single pointed thought current, you will be reaching the ultimate state of enlightenment. This is what the self, the self-realization and God realization. So all through the self is the bottom consciousness for every experiences. It is the pure knowledge, hence considered clear, bright and resplendent. So that bright and resplendent and like the self you will be achieving by the meditation. So once you cross that meditation and you reach the enlightenment, here the what is that self, how is that self is going to describe in this mantra 6. We are going to we are going to study in this mantra 6. We are going to chant the mantra 6. Achintyamavyaktamanantarupam Shivam Prashantham Amrutam Brahma Yonim Tathadigat Madhyanta Vihinamekam Vibhum Chidanandam Adbhutam. Achintyamavyaktamanantarupam Shivam Prashantham Amrutam Brahma Yonim Tathadimadhyanta Vihinamekam Vibhum Chidanandamarupa Madbhutam. So from now onwards, we are entering into the second topic of the Kaivalya Upanishad, wherein the Brahman is referred. Brahman is both of them, the manifest and the unmanifest. That is the topic which we are going to study from the mantras 6 to 11. This is the 6th mantra. From 6 to 11, we are going to study and understand Brahman and its unmanifest and manifest. All are boils down to Brahman and Brahman alone. So there is only Brahman and Brahman. There is only God and God alone. There is no world. World is an imaginary projection upon the world, upon the Brahman, upon the God. So this has to be understood gradually while studying the Upanishad. Brahman is the originally a supreme reality. Brahman is said to be what is the message covering in the mantras from 6 to 11 mantras. The brief description has been given in the introductory portion. So the topic division. So what is that? The topic covers Brahman is the supreme formless reality. Brahman, the God, is formless reality. There is no form, there is no name. Brahman is only an attributed one name. There are millions of names for the Paramatma, the Satchidananda, the Supreme. You call it any name. There is no name actually. It is nameless, formless, reality. The Godhood, the Atman, the Supreme Self, the unmanifest, that infinite. It is Ananta Swarupa, infinite. And it is also all pervading. It is omnipresent. Everywhere the God exists. And also it is knowledge and bliss. It is consciousness, knowledge, awareness, pure knowledge, Satchidananda. Chit. Chit means consciousness, pure consciousness, God consciousness, pure knowledge, pure awareness. And that is Godhood. And bliss. Bliss is the happiness, the unbreakable, akhandanand, unbroken bliss. That is also the nature of the Brahman, the Supreme God. We are going to study and understand. The sage, meditating upon the Supreme Lord, transcends. So, the sage means the spiritually advanced seeker who concentrates and meditates upon the Supreme God, means single thought connection, which is meditation upon the Supreme Lord to the exclusion of all other thoughts. If you are able to fix one thought, that is called meditation. And on the Supreme Lord, he transcends, means he crosses. What is he crosses? Tamas. Tamas means ignorance, delusion. See, right now, entire humanity is caught up in conservative ignorance. What is that ignorance? You do not know when did you come from, where did you come from. You do not know who is your father's 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 first father. Who is that? And you do not know when are you going, where are you going, how are you going from this planet. You are not aware of the who is the cause of this universe, what is the cause of the source of this universe, whether the chicken came first or the egg came first. You do not know the tree came first or the seed came first. You do not know anything. Nobody knows anything. This is the ignorance. This is the tamas. This is the complete illusory delusion. Everybody is anchored, caught up, and no clue about the reality, the Godhood, the source, the Atman. And there is a complacency. There is a stagnation. There is no investigation. There is no questioning. There is no penetration to that ignorance. To break the ignorance, nobody is trying to attempt. They are acclimatized to comfortable. So how are you? I am well settled. Where? In the ignorance. The human birth and human life entirely engulfed by this tamas, this ignorance. And this ignorance, the sage who transcends, who crosses by meditating upon the Supreme Lord and reaches the ultimate source of beings, then only such a great master, great advanced seeker with meditation he reaches the Supreme Self. This ignorance is very, very interesting. How a human being is blissfully unaware of how much ignorant he is. First thing is he doesn't know that he is ignorant of the Supreme Self. That is the first problem. Second problem is he is not aware that he is ignorant. And third one is there is no attempt to investigate and break this ignorance and get to that knowledge of the Supreme Self. These are the problems. There is an example given to understand how the humanity is blissfully complacent. This complacency is deadly and it is killing humanity, as it were. So, what is this? You can understand the beautiful example given in the Shastras. What is that? A lady with family, children, suddenly her husband met with an accident and died, and the breadwinner, only breadwinner for the family to run, the children and that lady. The poor lady is crying because there is nobody to earn, nobody to feed them. So she was crying, how to live with all the things. Suddenly, 1 week passed, 2 weeks passed, and the person is gone. The house, the husband. Then suddenly a postman comes and delivers a, what is that called, money order. Some 10,000 rupees money order she receives. She immediately, so much excited for provisions and food and shelter, she is able to manage with the money. She is so happy. And immediately she asked, see, the husband died, but who sent the money? How did the money came? She asked the postman. The postman said that, oh, we do not know. The money I received and I have to pass it on to you. So postman doesn't know. She inquired a little bit here and there and she could not find out who sent the money. That's what she could not find and she left at that. And then the next month, this month, she is fully able to meet her expenditure and livelihood and everything. The next month, what happened? She again received from the postman the money order of 10,000 rupees. She again very happy, excited. Okay, it's something very interesting. I do not know who is sending, but I am receiving money. I can meet my expenditure. She is a little bit stressed and worried about the money for the next month. This month, okay, but once she received the second month also, she slowly got the confidence that something is helping me. And again she asked the postman, where did the money come from? Who sent the money? The postman told, I don't know. And she also inquired here and there and close contacts. She could not figure out who is sending. And third month onwards, she stopped investigation. Because anyway, she is getting money and she is happy with whatever food and shelter she is meeting her requirements. This is the very, very same thing happening with every human being in the world. You have been receiving the millions of divine blessings of the life. You have been receiving the sunlight. You have been receiving the blood pressure, the pressure outside, pressure inside, the vegetation, the rain, the water, the universe. Millions of things you have been receiving. And from the day when you are born, you have been receiving the oxygen. You have not paid, you have not investigated, you don't bother. This is like a pay packet every month the lady is receiving. Similarly, everybody is born and everybody is receiving. And nobody has any interest or inclination like that lady to investigate, to find out who is paying my bills, who is providing all this. What is the source behind this universe? There is no interest in inquiry, investigation, find out, and complacent, happily, like that lady is receiving the money and not at all bothered to investigate who is sending, and no gratitude, no awareness, no interest to inquire, to investigate, to pay respects to that person who is sending. Same way today, this is the current situation of every human being. There is no interest to investigate the truth. Who is that who is supplying this life as such? Who is maintaining this universe? Who is maintaining the sun, moon, stars? There is no weekend, there is no vacation, there is no holiday. Sun comes every day. The earth is rotating every day for your sustenance, for your life. If the sun has not come, your life, you will be extinct from the planet. So there are millions of blessings, divine provisions are provided to you for your life existence, and you don't have any clue who is supplying what, and you don't bother about investigating the who is providing all. This is what the conservative ignorance, everybody is caught up. Ignorance and this tamas, this complacency, this stagnation, this is what the everybody is. It transcends the tamas, ignorance, and reaches the ultimate source of beings. All the beings, where did they come? He get to know that Supreme Self, the Atman. This is what you are going to learn in this topic. Brahman is Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So Brahman, the Supreme Lord himself, is divided into these three manifestations of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, Shiva. We are going to study these manifestations. He pervades the manifested world from the eternity, from the time immemorial. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are the creator, maintainer and the destroyer. So all these things we are going to learn in this topic. The wise knows him thus. The wise means the knowledge, the people who gained that self-knowledge and understood and wise, they got the wisdom as well. Thus, as the unmanifest and manifest, they understand what? Brahman is in the form of unmanifest as well as manifest. Unmanifest is the formless, manifest is the nama rupa, name and form. We are going to study in depth and learn this. He perceives who got the wisdom of the self-knowledge. He perceives the self, perceives God in all beings, in every being, in ant, in insect, in reptile, in birds, in fishes. Every living being, he x-rays through and see the self and self alone. And also, he is able to have that perception that all beings are in the self. They are all in the Paramatma. We are all in the medium of Paramatma. Like all planets are in the medium of space. Within the space, everything is existing. Similarly, within the God consciousness, within the Atman, every living being exists. That is also he is able to perceive. Attains such a person who gets these two types of perceptions, such a advanced spiritual seeker who gained that wisdom, he is able to attain that liberation only when he gets to that perception, or he is able to see the self in every being and all beings in the self. That is the achievement of his growth by wisdom, by knowledge. Such a person alone reaches Brahman, reaches the enlightenment, reaches the ultimate truth and ultimate self. That is, the person is spiritually enlightened. So, this is the topic we are going to study from 6 to 11. Now we have chanted the mantra 6. And what is this mantra 6 contains? We are going to study the translation and the message in the mantra. Achintyam avyaktam anantarupam Shivam Prashantham amrutam Brahma yonim Tadhadi madhyanta vihinamekam Vibhum chidanandam arupam adbhutam It is the greatest, closest definition or description of the Supreme Lord, the Paramatma. If any definition or any description, actually God cannot be defined. Definition means you are trying to capture in words and thoughts. God cannot be captured in words and thoughts because God is inconceivable. Achintyam. Achintyam means inconceivable. That is the first statement of the translation. Achintyam. Achintyam means inconceivable, incomprehensible. You cannot understand with the intellect God what is God is. That is because God is the source of the intellect. You cannot understand. It's just like that. You can't attend to your father's marriage because you are the product. So it is impossible. Similarly, the thinking equipment in you, that which defines, that which thinks, the reasons, the judgments or decision making equipment is the intellect. That intellect itself is the product of the vasanas, which is the enlivened by the Atman. Without the Atman, the intellect cannot function. Therefore, intellect cannot understand the Atman, the self. So it is inconceivable, achintyam, avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest. We are going to understand each and every definition. Unmanifest of infinite forms. Anantarupam. Anantarupam means there are millions and millions and infinite number of namarupas, name and forms. All names and forms in the world are nothing but Brahman and Brahman alone. Auspicious. Auspicious means Shivam. God is defined, another definition is called Shivam. Shivam means goodness, auspicious, virtuous. And Prashantham. Prashantham means perfectly tranquil. What do you mean by perfectly calm and tranquil? We are going to study. And Prashantham, Amritam. Amritam means immortal. God is defined as, another description is called immortality. Immortality we are going to study anyway, but it is a deathless, birthless state. There is no death, there is no birth for the Godhood. Immortal. One of the definition of God is Brahman. Atman is immortal. Womb. Brahma yonim. Womb of Brahma. Where Brahma is born. You see, in Indian context, there is a Lord Vishnu is lying down on the 1,000-hooded serpent in the Milky Ocean, Lord Vishnu. And from the stomach there is a beautiful lotus, rising up, and the lotus there is a Brahma sitting. So Brahma yonim. So Lord Brahma is born from the womb of Vishnu. Brahma yonim. So Brahman, the Supreme God, is described as womb of Brahma, the creator. The creator came out of Brahman, the Supreme God. We are going to understand the definition. And Tadadimadhyanta, also without beginning, middle and end. Tadadimadhyanta vihinamekam. So, Adi, Adyam, Antam. Without beginning, without middle, without ending also. God has no beginning, no middle, no end. We are going to learn that. Ekam. Ekam means God is one. God is not plurality, but we are in India, we misunderstand that gods are millions and millions. All are nothing but the expressions, the manifested powers of the one Supreme God. There is only one God called Brahman, the unmanifest reality, but they are being expressed, manifested powers of various ways in the world and representing these symbolically gods and goddesses. We are going to study that. And Anekam Vibhum. Vibhum means all pervading. Vibhum means everywhere. Chidananda Rupam. Chit means consciousness, knowledge, awareness. Chidananda. Ananda means bliss, peace, happiness. Chidananda Rupam. Rupam, Arupam, formless. Chidananda Arupam. Arupam means formless. Rupam means form. There is no form for the Brahman. Brahman has no name, no form. That is Chidananda Rupam. Adbhutam. Adbhutam means wonderment. Wonderment. What is wonderment? We are going to learn and understand. Wonderment is that which beats your intellect. All these things we are going to study, each and every one. The mantra indicates the nature of Brahman. So all these descriptions and definitions can we communicate a picture of Brahman, the Atman, the Godhood, and try to help us to indicate some idea, some concept, so that we can hook on to that for spiritual evolution. Because God, by definition, cannot be captured in thoughts and words and descriptions and definitions. But they help you a long way to lift you up from the attachment to the world to the attachment to divinity. They take you to the higher and higher to reach the God. The long way they are going to help us. So the mantra indicates the nature of Brahman, the nature of Brahman, the supreme reality. Brahman is the transcendental. The world you and me living is the terrestrial world. This terrestrial world is made up of objects and beings, made up of perception, emotions, thoughts, made up of these dvandvas, so many definitions of this world, time, space, causation, all these definitions of the world. But where is God? God is beyond the world, the transcendental, beyond the world. Nothing in the world, nothing in the terrestrial world can actually describe or define it, because it is beyond the grasp of the thoughts or words or the body, mind, intellect or the worldly concepts. Yet, qualities of the Brahman are given, qualities are given to Brahman. These qualities, these attributes, these properties we are going to study, they are given to Brahman to help the seeker, to help the spiritual aspirants, to help the human beings who are interested in growing better quality of life and living. Such people, these descriptions and attributes and qualities are given to Brahman so that the seeker conceptualize its staggering image. He could conceive, he could fix some kind of idea, some image, some kind of concept he can hook on to, and then he will grow spiritually. A staggering image, all put together. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. You have bits and pieces, and cover it and get to the some kind of picture in front of you. To have the picture of God only to indicate, to get to that enlightenment. So, and inspire him. So these definitions, these descriptions, these qualities help you to inspire whatever clicks you, whatever gives you. They are the hooks to hold on, to attain, for what? To attain the transcendental state of being, the transcendental, the supreme Atman, the Godhood, that original being, the true being, the infinite being, the Paramatma state. You are going to attain with these qualities if you catch hold of them and try to contemplate and meditate on them. They are merely not perfect definitions, complete definitions. They are indicative definitions. They are like arrow marks. You have to go to the Brahman to understand Brahman. Arrow mark is not Brahman. Suppose you are going to Hyderabad. There is an arrow. You should go this way. That arrow mark, the direction. It is not the destination. So you must understand the difference between the direction and the destination. Similarly, all these definitions, all these descriptions of Brahman only gives us the direction to reach the Supreme Self, the transcendental reality. They are merely indicative definitions pointing to that ultimate reality. This is the help we get from the study and understanding of these attributes, properties, qualities of the Brahman. The first one we take up Achintyam. What is Achintyam? Achintyam means inconceivable. God, the Supreme Self, is inconceivable. So Brahman, the Supreme God, the pure consciousness, Brahman is the pure consciousness, which enlivens the body, enlivens the physical body and senses, enlivens the mind, enlivens the perceptions, body and senses and their perceptions, enlivens the mind and to feel various emotions, enlivens the intellect to conceive various thoughts and ideas, to understand and to not understand. All are the self. Self is inconceivable. The self is behind this body, mind, intellect. Make them feel, perceive, see and feel and think. But God cannot be thinkable. God is beyond thinkable. It is inconceivable. Brahman is the pure consciousness which enlivens the senses to perceive the objects, mind to feel, intellect to think. So, our conceived thoughts, it is not the object of comprehension, it is the subject within which helps the intellect to comprehend the various thoughts and ideas. But God cannot be comprehensible because God is the source, God is the subject in you. It is like a torchlight. The torch is there. The torch has the cells. With that you will be seeing everything. But with the torch you can't see the cells. You can't see the batteries inside the torch, inside the light. Similarly, the Achintyam, inconceivable, it is the subject, not the object. God is not the object to see, to feel, to think. It is the subject within which enlivens the object to comprehension. So it is not, God is not an object of experience. These equipments cannot reach Brahman. Therefore, body cannot reach Brahman, the mind cannot reach Brahman, the intellect cannot reach Brahman. But without the body, mind, intellect, you can't be lifting yourself and reach the Atman, just like a pole vaulting. A pole vaulting is a game where you use the pole to lift yourself up and up because the bar is very high. You have to transcend the bar and go other side to be successfully, for which you need a pole. The pole helps you to lift yourself up and up, and once you are at the top, you have to discard the pole to cross over the horizontal bar and go other side and leave the bar, leave the pole. If you hold on to the pole, you hit the bar and you will knock the bar and you will be dislodging and you will be not successful. Similarly, the body, the mind, the intellect are the equipments which helps you to gain that enlightenment, but they are not going to help you to use them to go along with them. You have to drop them in the final state of meditation. You drop the body, you drop the mind, you drop the intellect and reach it. So they help you like a pole vaulter, the pole, what they use it. Similarly, these equipments cannot reach Brahman, hence they are called inconceivable. So they are inconceivable. What are the body, mind and intellect? It is the Supreme Self which enlivens. The self conceiving the world through the intellect is like viewing an object, observing a landscape. See, when you see a landscape, you see with the telescope. The seer, you are seeing with the eye and the telescope. The viewer, you are the seer, you are the viewer, uses the telescope to view everything with the telescope. Except himself. He can't see himself. He has to separate himself and come in front of the telescope. It is not possible. Similarly, he cannot see himself with the telescope. Likewise, the self uses the intellect to conceive everything. The self, the Atman, uses the intellect to understand or not understand. To see everything, to feel everything, to think everything with the body, mind, intellect. Self is needed. But self cannot be understandable with the intellect. Hence the self is said to be inconceivable. So the world accepts itself. the self is helping the intellect to conceive everything, but self cannot be conceivable by the intellect. Therefore, it's said to be inconceivable. Achintyam. Now come back to the next verse. What next definition or description? Avyaktam. Avyaktam means unmanifest. God is said to be the Supreme God, the Atman. The Atman is said to be unmanifest. What do you mean by unmanifest? So the wise see Brahman. Wise sees Brahman as the supreme unmanifest reality. Supreme unmanifest reality. Only the wise, the people who got the wisdom, Vedantic wisdom, they see God is formless, unmanifest reality and not the manifest world of plurality. So the world is a manifested plurality, diversity, heterogeneity, variety. This variety is exhibitionism of this plants, animals and human beings and the planets and the skies and stars and mountains, valleys, rivers. This multitude of exhibition of this entire universe is a manifest reality, manifest world of plurality. God is not them. God is the unmanifest reality. The wise understands. Like an undiluted person sees. See, when there is you put a rope in the near one place where there is a boy. The boy in the dark sees that rope, it treads the rope, he steps onto the rope and scares himself and comes out and saying that snake, 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 I saw the snake and snake bit me. You know very well that there is no snake, it is only rope. But the boy sees the snake where there is a rope and rope alone and there is nothing but rope. But why the boy sees an imaginary, illusory projection upon the rope? Because of unmanifest. From the unmanifest, there is a manifest. So, where there is a rope, he projected a snake. This is what, not an illusory snake projected upon it. So, the wise understands this world is Brahman, unmanifest reality. The ignorant, the deluded, like the boy, they are caught up in this multitude, variety of plurality, diversity, heterogeneity, and caught up in this imaginary projection upon that reality. Like another example, where there is a rope, you see a snake. Where there is a God, you see the world. Similarly, where there is a ocean, you see a wave. And the waves and waves you are caught up, but the waves are nothing but imaginary projection, a projection upon the vast sheet of water. There is no waves at all, it's all ocean and ocean only. The wise understands, but the unwise, deluded people caught up in this manifest world of plurality, manifest world of every expression, they're caught up. So, God, whoever understands they are wise people, that is called unmanifest reality. The supreme reality is the never manifest. So the wise sees Brahman, the supreme God, as the supreme unmanifest reality. God is not a manifest object. God is not a person. God is not a living being. God is not a stone, God is not a tree, God is not an animal, God is not a namarupa, God is unmanifest reality, the invisible, unmanifest truth and reality. That is the definition, that is the actual description, unmanifest. That's why it is called avyaktam. Vyaktam means manifest, avyaktam means unmanifest. When they use a in the Sanskrit, it is called non in English. Vegetarian, non-vegetarian. A means non. Shantihi, ashanti. Ye, the moment you put a, it becomes non in English. Another example is violence, non-violence. So that non is the English word for asha in Sanskrit. Here, avyaktam. Vyaktam means manifest, avyaktam means unmanifest. Seed is, for another example, seed is avyaktam. The tree is the vyaktam, manifest. So seed and tree is similar. So that is the definition of one of the description of avyaktam. So you must remember, God is avyaktam, unmanifest reality. The supreme God is unmanifest, infinite reality, the supreme reality, the Paramatma. So another one is Anantarupam. Anantarupam means he has got a rupas, infinite forms, infinite names and infinite forms. This entire world is nothing but names and forms and names and forms. All names and forms like millions of waves coming out of the one vast ocean, one vast sheet of water. Infinite forms, but the deluded, the confused, the ignorant do not see that unmanifest Brahman behind this manifest world of plurality. Behind this diversity, behind this infinite names and forms, behind this heterogeneity, there is a homogeneous conscious principle which is supporting as a substratum. For every wave, for every bubble, for every foam and froth and foam, there is a ocean in the water. There is a ocean that supports, the ocean that is made up of, the ocean which is substratum, which is holding the entire phenomena of the waves. Similarly, the millions of names and forms of these inert objects and living beings of the plants and the animals and the human beings, the one only substratum is Brahman. That's why it is called Anantarupam. It is Anantarupam means infinite forms. The deluded do not see, the confused person do not see that unmanifest Brahman behind this manifest world of plurality. Like an undeluded person sees an undeluded person. See, the infinite forms have emerged from the one reality. Where from this diversity, heterogeneity came from? That one supreme God, one supreme Brahman, the Atman. So, that one reality, but all these came out of the delusion, the imagination. Like a snake is projected. A person, there is a rope and rope alone, but somebody sees a snake projected, imaginary snake. Somebody sees a crack on the earth. Somebody sees some kind of a reptile moving. All are variety names and forms projected, created out of imaginary delusion. Who are the people who are creating all of them? Deluded people, because there is only rope and rope alone exists. There has never been a snake or a crack on the earth or any reptile projected. It actually exists as a reality. So, all this Anantarupa is a deluded person's projection, imagination. Just like a screen, there is only screen, white screen on the wall. But there are so many movies are projected. There is a tragic movie, there is a comedy movie, there is an action movie, there is a thriller movie, there is an exciting movie, there is a fire in the movie, there is a conflagration, there is a flood in the movie. All are nothing to do with the screen. They are all imagination projection upon the one white screen. Similarly, all these nama rupas, name and forms, and plurality and diversity of the beings and objects and everything is expressed through one and only Brahman exists, nothing else. Because of the delusion, all are projected, the plurality is projected. So the deluded therefore perceive Brahman in its deluded person, deluded therefore perceive Brahman in the infinite manifest forms. So infinite manifest forms, the deluded therefore perceive Brahman in its infinite manifested forms. He thinks that the living beings are God and gods. and forgets the unmanifest reality that supports this manifested plurality and diversity. So the deluded do not see the unmanifest Brahman, but he thinks that manifested names and forms as God and God itself. That's what the people give in the gold. Easy to understand is the gold and ornaments. The people give more value to the ornaments. There is a ring, there is a necklace, there is an anklet, there is earrings, there is a nose ring, there is various rings of gold. All are nothing but one gold metal. That perception, one gold without a name and without form, is the support substratum of the all varieties of gold ornaments. The goldsmith understands, not the ordinary person. Similarly, the person who is not deluded, not confused, got the wisdom, he sees the one Brahman in the kaleidoscopic of plurality, diversity and heterogeneity. The infinite forms, Ananta Rupam, the deluded do not see the unmanifest Brahman behind the manifest world of plurality. The infinite forms have emerged from one reality through delusion. Through delusion, the deluded therefore perceive Brahman in its infinite manifested forms. Next, Shivam. What is that Shivam? Shivam means auspicious. Auspicious means virtuous. So, Brahman is said to be auspicious. One of the definitions of Brahman is auspicious. Is a sacred ideal, sacred goal. Highest ultimate goal of human being is to reach Brahman, reach God, reach Atman and become immortal. Adbhutam is going to learn all the definitions. God is the infinite, the birthless, deathless state. So that is auspicious, means always sacred, most sacred of all sacred items and the ideal of highest ideal of all ideals, all goals. It is the ultimate goal of human mission. The ultimate goal of human mission, purpose of human mission is the reaching Brahman, reaching Supreme God. The supreme goal of human existence is auspicious. Therefore, it has to be auspicious, it has to be virtuous, it has to be goodness. That is what Shivam. Shivam means auspicious. Next is Prashantham. So another definition of God is Prashantham. God has no desires. God, human being minus desires is equal to God. God plus desire is equal to you and me, a human being. A human being is born with desires and agitations. You are a disturbed person. Every human being is born to the depth of the human being. He is living with the mental agitations and disturbances. You may claim that I don't have much disturbances, but you can't claim to have zero disturbances because you are made up of body, mind, intellect, and mind means desires. And desires means agitations. Therefore, you could have a lesser more desire, more agitations based on the lesser more desires. But if you have zero desires, you reached the Brahman, the Atman, the Godhood. The mission is complete. Therefore, as long as you are a human being, you have these desires and agitations and you are not at peace, calm, tranquil, with reference to Brahman. Brahman is the alone Prashantam, Shantam, Prashantam, ultimate Shanti, infinite peace and bliss is only achievable in the state of Brahman. That's what we are going to study, and that we are going to study more deeply in the next class. Prashantam, we are going to aim and try to reach the Brahman, and we will continue from this definition. Rest of the definition we will study and learn in the next class. Thank you very much. Hari Om.